What is going on, guys? Get started right here, and in this video we're going to talk about some of the confirmations that we already have about the A7S III. Now, we are calling the A7S III, the industry is calling the successor of the A7S II, and there is a reason why they may be calling it that way. But this one actually comes from a post that was actually recently made by the guys at Sony Alpha Rumors, and it talks about the EVF. Now, they're calling that this is not a rumor, it's actually a confirmation because it comes from a very reliable source, and it goes to say that they cannot disclose where they got it from, but they are 100% that this is the truth. So it talks about the Sony A7S III having an EVF with a resolution of 9.4 million dots. Now, this is a lot of resolution, guys. There's no other camera out there with that type of EVF. Now, if you think about it, the Sony A7S II has an EVF of 2.3 million dots of resolution. So having an EVF with a 9.4 million dots of resolution is actually more than 4 times the resolution. And to put into contrast, the Canon R5 is going to have a 5 million dots EVF, which is actually more than any other Sony camera out there right now. Now, this actually gives us a little bit of an insight of the level of refinement that is going to go in this brand new camera. Again, we're calling the A7S III, but chances are that that may not be the name of the camera, and there are several reasons why. Now, I want to talk about an interview that was conducted by Deeper Review. I'm going to list the link in the description because I'm not going to talk about the whole interview, but I want to actually mention a couple of questions that Deeper Review made to Mr. Kenji Tanaka. He's the General Manager at Sony Business Unit. And he was actually drilled with questions, but there are a couple of questions that actually Sony himself actually reveals about the Sony A7S III. Perhaps he didn't intend it, but if we actually make some conclusions from what I'm about to read, you're gonna find out what I'm talking about. So the first question that he was asked was the following: will the A7S Mark II be replaced, or has the S line been superseded by the A7S III or the A7R4? And this is what he said: we have received many requests, especially from professional video content creators, and I can confirm that a successor to the A7S II will be coming later this summer. Now, basically, this camera is happening, right? It's being confirmed right now by Mr. Kenji Tanaka from Sony. So that is great news. Now, let's check it out what he says down the line. Right now, we are focused on the launch of the new camera. So basically, this states that the camera is completed right now, and they're basically focusing on the marketing, fulfillment, and probably sending cameras to a lot of people to review and the whole 9 yards. So this camera is actually completed. So it's not a dream anymore. And then he says, it will be a complete redesign of the whole system, including the image sensor. Everything is brand new. Now, this is really great news because obviously, they're not going to latch on any of the previous technology that they have developed. I'm assuming the autofocus is going to stay there. Perhaps they're going to improve it, but redesign a brand new sensor and redesign a new processor, this is going to entail the camera definitely to do things that no other Sony camera right now can actually offer. Now, he continues saying, we hope it will meet and exceed expectations and requests of our customer. I am very confident that our model will meet their demands. Now, this is the best part of his answer. The S originally stood for sensitivity, but now I think it should stand for supreme in terms of image quality and expression. It comes from having very big pixels. Now, this is basically saying one thing. We are going to get a sensor, a full frame sensor. It's going to be low in resolution. Now, the A7S II actually has a 10 megapixel sensor. Will they stick to 10 megapixel sensor? The supreme statement is a really bold statement to make. Now, if you actually check out the definition for supreme, I'm going to list it right here. You really have to back it up with a statement. Now, they know that Canon is coming out very strong with the R5 and the R6, so in order for them to say supreme, most likely this camera is going to be something really great and something completely new from Sony. But I also want to read you guys these other 2 questions that actually may give us an indication of what may happen with this camera moving forward. So Deeper Review asked Mr. Kenji, what are the major requests from A7S II users? So he says mainly 4K 60p, 10-bit 422, really what you would expect. So basically they have gathered all this information from their A7S II users, and at least we know that this camera is going to have 4K 60 10-bit recording, and the code is going to be a 422. Now, is this going to be enough for a lot of people? In a prior video, we actually covered a rumor about this camera having RAW capture. And now I want to talk about the following question that actually talks about RAW capture. We're seeing RAW video being added to more and more consumer cameras. Do you think that there is a need for it? And this is what he says. It's pretty interesting how he answers. Yes, we are aware that there is a certain amount of demand for RAW video. So basically, yeah, we know that some people like it, we've heard of it, we'll think about it, right? As you know, our customers include a lot of professionals, so we are working hard to be able to deliver raw data captured to these people. So we are working hard. So basically he's saying right now, we're working hard to deliver, meaning in the future, to consumer type of camera. So this may mean one thing, right? It may mean that perhaps, the A7S III or whatever this camera is going to be called may not have actually raw video capture. And if that's the case, I'll let you guys drop a comment down below and let me know what you think, if you care or not. Personally, I'm fine with this, but this camera is actually aiming to professional videographers. Now, this camera is going to have an EVF capable of resolving 9.44 million dots of resolution, guys. 4 times the EVF that we have in the A7S II. Now, this could also mean that you are going to be required that amount of resolution to actually being able to preview the most quality that this camera is going to be able to capture. No eye can actually distinguish 9.44 versus 5 million. That I can probably guarantee you. But it's really good to know. Now, I don't think that this is going to be the case, that they're not going to be including raw capture. What I think is that this camera may not be the A7S II like type of body that we are imagining. I think that this camera is going to have a brand new body because they need to have 4K video recording raw at least, right? And probably they're gonna do 6K. And the A7S III actually has a 6K sensor. So if they're able to extract that 6K and actually process it in raw data, that's gonna be awesome. So probably they're gonna move this camera to the more pro line type of cameras. And therefore, that's why he's saying that consumer cameras are not going to have this. They're not considering this camera a type of consumer or prosumer camera. So they're considering this camera a professional camera. And I think that this statement is actually meant to actually distract people and really get the buzz around. But having a brand new A7S III with a brand new body and having cooling capabilities, because once you have raw capabilities and once you have all that resolution, the processor is going to generate heat and you're going to need to dissipate this heat. Now, so I think that for the new A7S III or whatever this camera is going to be called, we are going to see also a brand new body. So we can expect from this camera, this is actually my prediction, this camera, it is not going to disappoint. It's going to have incredible capture. And at least that's what I hope, because otherwise Canon is going to run them over. Now, I know a lot of you guys are going to say, we don't need all this resolution. Who cares about 4K RAW, 8K RAW, 6K RAW? But again, this camera is not intended for the average consumer. This camera now is intended for the serious content creator that needs all that resolution to actually grade their footage and take their content to their level that they need it. So now the A7S III is still actually a mystery. And probably the EVF is the only confirmation, but we have a lot of information that gave us an indication of what Sony is actually up to with this camera. So this is what I have for today, guys. So as always, subscribe to this channel. If you like this video, hit the like button, and I'll see you again in another video. Take care.